This is your weekly real estate update for the greater Portland, Maine area. These are closed sales in the last 7 days, median numbers. Days on market dropped again to 16 days on market. The list to sale ratio went back to 100%. Honestly, I was a little bit surprised by that one. The closed price went down again to 480,000, and the average 30-year fixed interest rate went down again to 6.22%. And of course, your annual US inflation still at 3%. We're expecting new numbers shortly there. Today, I want to talk about quantitative tightening, what it means, and what it could mean for you. So, quantitative tightening is when the Federal Reserve is trying to reduce the money supply. So, back at the beginning of COVID, we printed a whole lot of money. Supply peaked out at about 9 trillion. And they entered this quantitative tightening period. So, pause on that thought and then picture this. You are a home improvement store. You order way too much paint, right? Maybe like $3 trillion too much paint. And instead of flooding the market with inventory, you just allow people to buy the paint, but you don't resupply. And slowly the shelves start to shrink and shrink and shrink, and the supply gets less and less. That is essentially what the Federal Reserve has done. They've allowed the supply to just shrink without resupplying. That's the quantitative tightening period. So we went from 9 trillion of supply down a little over 2 trillion now. And so they have said, as of December 1st, we're done with this tightening period. So what that means is, instead of allowing what is on the shelves, that extra paint, to continue to shrink, so there's less and less available on the shelves, they might start to flatten out and keep the supply stable. And what that means for small banks is, instead of having a lack of liquidity, there's going to be more supply out there, which means lending may be easier, and keeping their balance sheets is going to be easier. So what this means for you as the consumer is that it's likely that rates will continue to drop just because the QT period has ended. In addition to that, sliding over, we have the other things the Federal Reserve is always looking at, which is the inflation and the job numbers, right? So jobs have continued to be weak and inflation has continued to be stable. So as of right now, there's an 85% chance of a drop at the end of December because of those two numbers. And then over here, we're continuing to look at the quantitative tightening period ending. Both of those things say that over the next 6 months, we can expect rates to continue to come down. And for a consumer, what that means is you should be talking to your lender. You should be looking at, is it a good time to get a new mortgage, buy a home? Is it a good time to refinance your mortgage? Is it a good time to consolidate debt? You have auto loans, you've got consumer debt, you've got mortgages, all of them, the rates are likely to drop in the next 6 months. So make sure you're in contact with the lender. Make sure you're looking at where your rates are, whether you're making a purchase or you already have debt, should you be evaluating when it's time to make a move. I hope this was helpful. Have an awesome week.